Hello,
You're
church
alive.
family.
You're
Does it say I'm alive? Hey, it says I'm alive.
alive.
Stop saying I'm dead.
It's-
The rumors of my death have greatly been exaggerated. Okay, let's jump into it. If you've got a Bible, open it. I don't think you hear me say that often. To the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12. It's in the middle of the book, if you're wondering. It was written by a guy named King Solomon, one of the wisest men ever. Yes, I'm sporting, for those that are curious, the Columbia Yosemite hat because I'm about to head down to the Yosemite Sequoia. I think I can get my head on straight. There we go. Looks straight now, but it feels cockeyed on my head. I think we need a
What
wardrobe
Bible
manager.
verse were we on?
By the way, I'm not sick. If you hear me sniffling the whole time, I get the worst allergies, unfortunately. She'll vouch for me. But we're going to be in Ecclesiastes chapter 12. And I'm going to read the actual chapter, which is something I don't normally do. So hang tight and listen to the words of King Solomon at the end of his life, giving some wisdom to us younger folks in life. By younger folks, and he qualifies younger, anybody that is still living. In other words, all of us. Verse 1, it says, "Remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, before the difficult days come and the years draw near when you say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun and the light, the moon and the stars are not darkened, and the clouds do not return after the rain. In the day the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men bow down, when the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look through the windows grow dim. When the doors are shut in the streets, and the sound of grinding is low, when one rises up at the sound of a bird, and all the daughters of music are brought low. Also, they are afraid of height and terrors in the way. When the almond tree blossoms, the grasshopper is a burden, and desire fails. For man goes to his eternal home, and the mourners go to the streets. Remember your Creator before the silver cord is loosed, or the golden bowl is broken, or the pitcher shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the well. Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. Vanity, vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. So you've heard that statement and you've seen that actual verse 8 all over the world, just not quoted as a scripture, but it's actually scripture when it says vanity of vanities. And then they usually just say all is vanity, but they left out the part that says the preacher. So the preacher is saying vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yes, he pondered and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to thought and acceptable words, and what was written was upright, words of truth. The words of the wise are like goads, and the words of scholars are like well-driven nails given by one shepherd. And further, my son, be admonished by these. Of making books there is no end, and much study is wearisome to the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. So this is it at the end of the day, right? What does it all matter is what he's trying to give us the advice. And Solomon says, here it is. Fear God and his commandments. What is God's commandment? Jesus, he was asked, what is all these rules and things you got to follow that everyone says you, what does he say? The only commandments that God gave us to follow are love God with all your heart, love your fellow man as yourself. So fear God, the word fear that they're using here, the word you see says F-E-A-R. That's not the actual word used. The actual Hebrew word means to revere. You don't fear God like, right. Revere. I revere God. Yes. So revere God, keep his commandment to love God with all your heart and love your fellow man as yourself. For this is man's all. That's it. Duty to all mankind. That's it. For God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil, will come to light. I love that ending. It's hope. Now, John Maxwell breaks down 5 points, and I'll give John these credits because he's the one that did the work. In his Preacher's Edition, he says, the first section talks about verses 1 through 4. Don't lose sight of the big picture, especially when you're young. I want to encourage you to not lose sight of the big picture if you're young, because sometimes I remember getting frustrated with the older mentors and other people in my life and pastors and bishops and organizations because I felt they moved too slow for me. They didn't see the anointing, the gift that God gave me. That's okay. Maybe they did, and I needed to slow down. Maybe they didn't, and that's possibly happened too. But at the end of the day, don't lose sight of the big picture. Do what is right. So this is verses 5-8. He talks about do what is right before it is too late to correct yourself. That's something I really, I always worried about. How long do I got to get my life in order? I used to tell my dad when I was a young little kid, because they used to preach that you could do that one unpardonable sin. And I'm like, well, what's that? Because I don't want to do it. But yet no one can really explain to me what that one unpardonable sin was. And I'm like, dang it. I'm pretty sure I probably already did it. So I'm probably going to hell. Might as well go ahead and enjoy the ride. But I was always worried about that. And I think about that. And the reality is, do you have time to correct yourself? I can answer that by using a friend who died recently in his 80s, and the week of his death, he made an apology to somebody. He learned and changed, even at the last week of his death. So don't tell me it's too late. Oh, it's too late. I'm 60 years or 4 years old, or I'm 52, or I'm 48. It's too late, CC. I'm an old man set in my way.
I have cancer.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I've had all those things, and it doesn't matter, actually. There's no excuse. If you're alive, you have a chance to stop and change. He then says in verse 11, use your words like tools to shepherd and add value to others. Add value. How do you add value to people? Well, we can spend days talking about it. But sometimes you can point out someone's pluses, but you also got to get into their minuses. People think that getting into your minuses, that's not positively impacting. That is. If I can help you figure out what the crap that you're doing that's wrong, if I can help you see that, and then you can figure out how to change that, then we did a great job in improving ourselves. See, when I call my mentors, I don't know about you, but when I call my mentors, they're not like, oh, great job. Oh, I saw the reports in your sales. Your group's doing so amazing. It's awesome. It's more like, really? So you said that to that person in the way you said it? Like, and I'm like, but didn't you see what they don't want to tell me they're not there to tell me my pluses. They're there to address my negatives, to figure out how they can help better me as a human, as a boss, as an employee, as whatever you're in that position that you're in. Okay. That's what our mentors are there for. And so then it talks about in verse 12, don't try to master everything in life. Just what's important. I don't need to master everything. There's a lot of things I don't know how to do. My wife probably has a whole list of them. But I can tell you there are certain things that you just don't question me on. If you know me, people have never, and then when they do question me, they come back going, well, I'm not going to question that again because he really knows his stuff. But that's only in certain parts of my life. And I don't want to say it's the parts that matter, but it's the parts that matter about who I am. I'm not a doctor, so I don't need to worry about all the details of knowing what everything a doctor knows. I've had to deal with cancers, tumors, heart attacks, and strokes. If you talk to me about those subjects, some might say that I'm an expert in that area. I wouldn't say that. I'm just knowledgeable about an area because I'm in it. So what he's trying to say is focus on just what's important. What is the key in your life? Who are you? If you never go out there and speak to people publicly, do you need to be practicing on speaking publicly? I'm not saying you shouldn't. Focus on where in your life, what are the most important things that are important to you as a person, your livelihood, your personality, your friends, the things you do. What is the most important things? And just focus on that because you can't master everything. And then the last one, verses 13-14, he says, trust and obey God because he's the ultimate judge. Now, the ultimate judge, what does that mean? Well, that you guys all know as an inclusive minister, I don't believe in all of the heaven and hell the way that everyone has talked about it. I do believe there's a hell. We're in it. We're living in it right here, right now, in this space and time. And there is a heaven, an afterlife. And it is a great consciousness It's not this place where we're riding around in Mercedes Benz with golden streets. It's not like that. But that's okay. What's my point of this is what we just read from Solomon was if you were young or old, you got to learn to finish well. That's what he was in essence trying to say. Finish well. I'm only 20 years old. Why do I got to worry about finishing? I got like 50 more years to finish. Do you really? You know, if you walk out there today in that car, you're not going to get hit, because I just saw an accident on the freeway. And when I got home, I was peeking on the little channel thing, and sure enough, somebody's dead. Every day, I turn on the news. Every day, we turn the news on. Some car smashed, ripped off the whole thing in Everett, cut the whole top of a car off. Dead person. That person had no clue. A few weeks ago, a mother, 3 children were driving to school, going through a green light, when some idiotic idiot in our state decided to just do 112 miles an hour through a red light and killed them. Did they think they had more time? You see, I'm trying to get you to realize you don't know what time you have. I don't know what time I have. She doesn't know what time she has. None of us do. The cat on her shoulder, none of us know. So you live each day and finish well every day. If I think my wife, I got time to fix my marriage. If I think like that, I'll never accomplish it. But if I think today might be the last day, God forbid it's the day that she dies, right? Well, what's the last thing I want to say? I don't really care. You're a jerk. I'll be back later. And I go out. And I go see some friends, or I go try to blow some steam off by hitting the trail, doing some walking, which is my favorite thing to do. Go to the beach, right down the waterfront, walk on the beach. And I come home and my wife's dead from a stroke. What? How'd that happen? Yeah. So finish well, my friend. Finish every day well. There's days where I got to make tough decisions. I work. The men watching this video, not just our church members, but the men in our men's home of hope. We don't have a men's home. We have a men's home of hope. And our home of hope, we have conflicts that arise. It happens all the time with my clients, our clients. We have conflicts with them. But we try to work every day to finish well so that we can leave an example. People will follow their leaders. I'm a clean person. So people that are around me are usually clean people. My wife, she is a happy. She buys boxes with stickers of happy smiles. Like, okay, man, you're like really into this whole happy thing, because I'm not into all. I'm Mr. Positive, but the happy thing's the whole nother level she takes it to. Okay, but that is Cece, and so Cece wants to be this happy person and just joyful and joyous, and that's wonderful. And I don't want to do that, and I want to be grumpy. I could say, yeah, I got years to fix that, but I might not. And that might be the last thought my spouse or my friend or someone has of me. So he's trying to get you to realize, first off, it's not too late to change your way. I don't care how old you are. I hate hearing people that tell me, well, I'm already set in my ways. Well, then you're an idiot. When someone says they're set in their ways, here's what the Hebrew, let me get back to the Greek. The root word of when someone says, I'm set in my ways, or I already have a system figured out, that just means they're dumb. I'm just dumb. It just says it's a redneck version of I'm dumb. Because when I told people I got it, I know what I'm doing. Wow, I really did. And then young people. I was a young person, so I can speak to the young person. I'd be like, I know everything there is to know. Do you know how smart I am? Here's what this university said. Here's what that one said. I'm one of the most smartest people on earth. One of the most. Ain't you heard? It don't matter how smart you are and what you got. And I'm 48 now on the upswing. My wife is a little older than me, 10 years older. And we can talk to the older people. Smarter. We can talk to the older people. We hear it all the time. I don't need to change. Why not? Well, I'm an adult. I've raised children. Just so you know, just raising kids, and even if they're successfully raised, doesn't mean that you are not wrong in many aspects of your life. So that's what he's trying to explain in there. It doesn't matter. He was talking to the young person and the old person, right? The person in the middle, the person on the streets, the vendors. He was talking to everybody. There was not anyone he left out. We're all needing to finish well. And I'm not just saying that means you can't. Look, there's days where I'm going to have to lay into. I talked to an employee today, and I had to be very stern. I love that employee. They're a team member and a key part of my team and our team. Key part. Still had to be stern with this person. And they had to deal with some issues. I would hate for me to die and that to be the last things. So before my day's done, I'll make sure I follow it up with a phone call or a text or something from that to that person to let them know I really appreciate you and I'm glad we were able to get through this. Okay. Now, finishing well doesn't mean you're going to finish well in everything. It means we strive to. All fall short of the glory of God. Honey, any of this resound with you? Anything stick out?
Quite a few things, and God is always watching us. So that last or second to the last thing that you said, answering to Him. I mean, it's just integrity because He's always present. He's always watching us. He gives us purpose, and for me, it's not that Jonathan might be watching me or anybody else has judgment of me. It's I have a relationship with God, and I feel like He's judging me. I heard a story one time, and I thought it was very interesting. Somebody said, you're going to get up to heaven, and somebody's going to take you to this giant storeroom, and this storeroom is going to be full or halfway full. And they said, yeah, that's the rewards that you didn't get when you were down there on Earth School. And that was like, whoa, wait a minute. So to me, that means there's so much more that I could be doing so that God can give me more tools, more things to help others, more joy because I'm doing the right thing because He's watching. So it's not whoever's watching who's ever judging. I feel like He is. So I don't want to miss out on anything, any of those rewards. I want to see that if that is a true like fun statement, and you can think of it as a real thing if it helps. When I get to heaven and if there is a storeroom, when I open that door, I want it to be empty. I want to know that I got everything that I deserved when I was here.
Out of this life.
Out of this life.
Understood. Well said. All right, guys, we're getting down to the wire. We love you all so much. We're going to let you go. We come to you each week. The next few weeks, 3, you'll see me and our first lady here of the TCI live together. After that, you won't see me live anymore. I will have pre-recorded messages that I'm doing between now and the time I leave on our epic expedition on May 20th. Mark your calendars. For those that want to be involved, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be walking from Southern California, the Mexican border, all the way up to Canada. And when I say we, I am. She's not. I tried.
Be there.
I tried to tell her it'll be romantic. We'll be in the tent every night together, and when it's freezing and rain and snow out, we can cuddle and snuggle like lovebirds. And when
somebody has to take care of a dog.
The dog. See, I got replaced by the dog. We love you guys. We'll keep you up to date. We'll be sending you videos from also on the trail. So keep your eyes looking for that. And remember something, finish well, my friends.